Consolidating statutes are laws that combine various statutory provisions on a particular subject into one comprehensive statute, which is what the term consolidation actually means. For example, as the concept of companies was adopted and evolved in India, companies were initially governed by the Joint Stock Companies Act, followed by the Companies Act, and later the Indian Companies Act. And eventually, some other statutes were also enacted. The Companies Act of 1956 consolidated all the statutes that preceded it into one specific statute. And eventually, other laws and rules also evolved, along with the changes in the social, political, and economic environment of the country. So, the Companies Act of 2013 consolidated the Companies Act of 1956 and other laws related to companies that were prevalent at that time. So, what we can see here is that whenever the law on any subject starts to become too wide and spreads across multiple statutes, then a consolidating statute is enacted to repeal the previous statutes and create a single authoritative statute. The consolidating statute will also simplify and clarify any doubts in the previous laws and also bring in any required updates and remove inconsistencies in the previous laws. Coming to the interpretation of consolidating statutes, their primary objective is to simplify and clarify the previous laws, and this should guide the interpretation process as well. The courts will presume that unless specifically stated, the consolidating statute does not intend to bring in any significant changes as compared to the previous laws. Since consolidating statutes are practically built upon previous laws, the historical context of the previous laws should also be considered before interpreting the new statute. That is, what was the intent of the original law and whether the new law has a different intention. The rule of harmonious construction is also relied upon to ensure consistency and avoid any conflicting interpretations. And any interpretation of any statute must be validated against the presumptions as to the interpretation of statutes.